Spittle's known for making cider. Well, every farm made its own cider. Every farm had its cider orchard. Every farm had its press, which you could press the juice to make the apple. And they'd all have their own barrels. And the workmen, that was their reward, made their own cider. And you would make, my dad always said that the workmen would drink more cider than our Ferguson tractor would drink diesel. And he was true. He worked it out one year. We sat down, yeah, he actually drank more cider than our Ferguson 35 used diesel. So that was a phenomenal amount of cider. But that was pre-mechanical tractors. You can't be drunk driving, I just apologize. But they were a lot of manual labour, so therefore you'd sweat the cider out. So they would always have a jug of cider with them. I can just about remember, and I can remember when I was about 7 or 8 year old, the workman taking me out and sat me down having his lunch with him and giving me my first glass of cider, 8 year old. And my mum came out quite concerned. Is he all right? Yeah, he's all right. He's all right. He's learning. So you sit there and look an honour when you're this little glass, because the Devon cider house in the back, in the corner, and he'd have his cheese sandwich or whatever he's having and a little glass of cider. And I can remember my mum first came to the farm, and it was 7 o'clock one morning, freezing cold, and my mum was really worried about this workman drinking all his cider, so he come in for a kettle. Mum went, oh, lovely, he wants a cup of coffee. He said, no, my cider tap's defrosted. He said, I need defrosting. Can I have the kettle, please? My mum's face like, really? He said, yeah, and he went out with the kettle, so he could have his glass of cider in the morning.
And those old boys could put it away, couldn't they? I mean, they think nothing of several pints before, during, and after.
Oh, yeah, it was just I mean, it's like anybody. The more alcohol you drink, the more you can actually take. But it was and I guess it was dull, routine work. Everything was manual labour, and it was blinking hard work. They would start in the morning where they were, whatever they were doing, it'd be a long, hard day. And I guess it just numbed the senses a little bit. But they'd probably drink a gallon a day, easy. And then go home at night and take a flagon home with them, and then back again, do the routine again. And it would be 6.5 days a week, wouldn't it? It wasn't, weekends weren't free, and it would be long hours. And even when all the livestock were indoors, you'd manually cut the Swedes up. There'd be a machine to chop it up. So that everything was just physical. And it's so easy to look back, but to do that every day would be blinking hard work.
So how much cider were they making on the farm?
We would have made 9 barrels one year, and they're 60-gallon barrels. Now, whether they all stay, and some would have gone out, some would have been lent to because there'd be a gang of you, because it would take a ton of apples for every barrel. So there's a lot of work just to pick up the ton of apples.
And press.
And press, cut. I mean, the cutting and the pressing is quite like a harvest. It's fun. It's a big group of you working together. But the manual labour of being out and just picking bags of apples, that's the hard bit. Once you got that bit over, the actual pressing day is a fun day, because, again, Mum brings a roast out, so you'd all pile in. And I carried it on when I went to college. My first year at Agriculture College in London, we wanted cheap alcohol. So we came in, we made 3 barrels, 60-gallon barrels, took it back to college. But we couldn't wait for it to ferment. It's meant to ferment for 4 weeks. We couldn't wait, and it wasn't good.